What's up, YouTube, and welcome to my video for the pickups I've got in the month of December 2017. Travel this month, I took a trip to California after Christmas, so I got to go to San Diego for the first time and also LA. Been to LA several times, but it's been a long time since I've been, so I did some good game hunting out there while I was there. One of the coolest things I did while I was out there is I got to visit Game Dude, and this is a store that's been around probably since the late 80s, early 90s. I knew them because they used to advertise in EGM magazines and other game magazines with price lists and all this cool stuff that you never knew if they really had in stock or not. So I actually got to go to their actual store, which is in West Hollywood, California. It's in a kind of industrial warehouse. It's huge. It has a big variety of games. And they have some really cool stuff, things you don't see every day. So I'm going to start off my video by showing you a Turbo Duo game I got there, actually. And this is Dungeon Masters Theron's Quest. Probably not the kind of game I'm going to play too much. It's a first-person RPG. But really unusual to find some of these late Super CD Duo games. The really weird thing is they had about 12 copies of this. I can't explain that. So I talked to the guy at the register, and he's like, some strange collector came in and just dumped a ton of copies of that. They weren't sealed or anything, so it wasn't like they were from a fresh case, but really weird to see a huge stack of the same Turbo Duo title when you hardly ever see these games at all. So nice to get another game for that system. Just some other things about Game Dude. This place is completely old school. I mean, they have not gravitated to the way of doing business in the 2010s whatsoever, which is great. It was fun to see. First off, they have price lists, just like Funko Land back in the day. So you can walk in, grab the price list for the game system you're interested in, and see all the prices as well as what they pay for all the games in the system. And it kind of makes yourself a little wish list or just something that's handy to shop with as you're walking through the big store. So I thought this was a really neat touch that they still do this. A couple other things that are kind of just retro about the store is they still put the little void stickers on their games with their logo on it, and so that way it's a proof of purchase. And when I checked out, they gave me a dot matrix printer receipt for everything. So, oh, and one final thing, I asked them if I could do some mail order with them in the future, since I don't live locally in California, obviously. And they said, sure, just call us up and give your credit card number, and we can check to see if we have the inventory in stock, which was super nice, but at the same time, hilariously out of date. They don't do online payments whatsoever, no PayPal, none of that kind of stuff. So Game Dude never change. It was a pleasure to go finally check out that store, and I don't know, if you're ever in the area, definitely check it out. It's a fun walk into the past. Moving on, I'm going to show you some Sega Master System stuff I got this month, and really focused in on getting the card variant, or not variant releases, but just the games that came out on these turbo chip type cards. There were 7 of them, so I think I only need 1 more to have the full set. So I got Teddy Boy, which is, I don't know, just a little action platformer type game. F-16 Fighting Falcon, special there. Ghost House, I've heard this one's kind of cool. Haven't checked it out yet. And then finally, Spy vs. Spy. I think this is the same game that came out on the NES, just you know, a Master System version of it. So I really like these games. They come in these little thin cases. They're really easy to spot on the shelf, and kind of interesting. I think they just held less data than a cartridge, so only the early releases came on these, and then Sega kind of discontinued the format. But definitely a cool curiosity in the Master System library. Moving on, I'll show you some Sega CD games. I got Dune. This is a movie I've never been able to make it through all the way. It's so dry. It's interesting, but at the same time, I just can't stay awake. So maybe someday I'll make it through that 4 or 5 hour movie, however long it is. So anyway, interesting they made a game for it for the Sega CD. I think this might be exclusive to it. I'm not positive. But looking forward to checking that out. While I bought that, they were so surprised I was buying a Sega CD game at the store I was at that they just threw in NBA Jam as well. They're like, oh, nobody ever asked for these, so you can just have this. Okay. It's always nice to get a bonus Sega CD game with an uncracked case. If nothing else, I'll use that for something else. Moving on, I'll show you some PS1 games. I'm kind of starting to close in on some RPGs that I just never got for the system. Some of these I'm kind of surprised I didn't have, actually, looking through my collection. It was the first Wild Arms game. Have the second one, but just never got the original. And this is a hard one to find in good condition, especially with the manual. It seems like a lot of people toss the manual for this one. So nice to get a clean copy of this. I found this actually locally. One that's been on my list for several years, and I just never pop for it because the price is so high, and I never seem to, I don't consider it rare, just the price never comes down, is Suikoden 2. Got this on one of my out-of-town work trips, and for some reason the store was selling it like $50 less than the going rate, so kind of odd that they were somewhat aware of the price, but not at all in the ballpark of what it really goes for, so I was happy to grab it for that price. And really clean copy of this. This game I've wanted for a long time, so nice to get that one. Finally is Beyond the Beyond of these RPGs, and this one I've not heard good things about. It was a very early release for the system, but again, a hard one to find complete and in good condition, so just nice to get a clean copy of that. The rest of the PS1 stuff I got this month is Longboxes, and first one of these is an incredibly rare one. This is Tecmo World Golf. Totally stumbled on this in a store. If you've ever heard of the Japanese chain Book Off, there's tons of them all over Japan, but apparently we have a few in the United States, in California, New York City, and I don't know, somewhere else on the East Coast. So I hit their store in San Diego, and it was really a fun visit. I can't say I bought much, but it was fun to kind of check a look at all the import games they had, even though they were just dirt commons and stuff like that. But just weird to walk in a store in the United States that's fully stocked and that kind of thing. However, they had this, which was hilariously underpriced. This is the one of the rarest Longbox releases because I think it was the final Longbox game. It also got a jewel case variant, and obviously it's golf, so I don't really care, but for some reason this one is very, very tough to find if you're going for the Longbox set. So got this at a really good price, and thank you, Book Off, for that one. Another game I got at Game Dude is Cyber Sled. This is the last of the early Namco arcade port games that I didn't have the Longbox of. I think there was a total of 5 of these, and so now I've got the whole set of those. Never played this game in the arcade, so kind of curious to check this out. I've heard the PS1 version, you know, they took a few liberties with it, but definitely looks worth playing. Got a clean first pressing Longbox copy of Resident Evil. I've had the jewel case version of this for quite a while, but never had a nice Longbox of it, so got this at a good price too and couldn't turn it down. Moving on to PS2, I got one game. This is Parappa The Rapper 2. I was a huge fan of Parappa 1 and Jammer Lammy. Never really got into this one that much. I've had the Japanese version of this for a long time, but decided to get the US version. It does have kind of this neat foil case, and I don't know, even the inside of it just has some cool artwork and things like that, so I like this packaging if nothing else, but the game itself doesn't really live up to the rest of the series. Got one game for PS4. Actually, I got 2 games for PS4 this month. The other one I left in the other room. So, got Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, finally. This got blown out at Target, so I grabbed it really cheap. Pretty lazy, you know, compilation of these games, because once you're playing one of the games, you can't reset the game easily, and I don't know, it was neat to have these all bundled up, these ones that were digital only originally, but other than that, whatever. It's not really a great collection. The game I don't have in my pile here, because I'm playing it in the other room, is Windjammers, the limited run release of that. It's a lot of fun. For some reason, I never played the Neo Geo version of that, so I don't know, looking forward to playing that even more, but very addicting game. Just classic Neo Geo, you know, port for the home system that we have now. So moving on, I'm going to talk about some portable games. I got a big stack of Game Boy stuff while I was out in California. I don't know if the stuff is easier to find out there because people travel more or what, but definitely got some things I wouldn't be able to find at home. First one of these is Joshua. This is one of the Wisdom Tree Christian games for the original Game Boy. I think there was 4 of these. They're all licensed, so they have these funky cart shapes. This was just one of the few I still needed, so it was nice to find that. Grabbed Altered Space. This is an early Game Boy game that I've heard some good things about, just never had it, so decided to grab that. Grabbed Little Monster for Game Boy Color. I think it's just like a Pokemon clone, maybe dumbed down a little bit, but it's an Age-Tech release, so I kind of was interested in that. Probably the coolest thing I got in San Diego that was totally unexpected to find, I've never ever seen this game in the wild complete, was Bonks Revenge for the original Game Boy, complete in a box. Really nice shape. I've had this game card only for a while, but this is one that I would have never even expected to find complete, and not only that, at a good price, so very happy to bring that home with me. Much lesser than that was a complete copy of Solar Striker, just the early Game Boy shooter. It's nice to have that complete. I got that real cheap. Another Game Dude purchase was Xena, the Warrior Princess for Game Boy Color. This is a Titus game for the system. It kind of plays like a dumbed-down Zelda 1, and really bad game. I was playing it the other day. But very, very hard game to find for Game Boy Color for some reason. So this one's one of the more collectible games to the system, and again, just one I could never find locally, so nice to grab that. Another oddball Titus game for the Game Boy Color that I got at Game Dude is Hands of Time, and this one they had complete in the box. One thing I like about that store is they don't charge a premium for cartridge and manual and boxes if they have all the extra stuff. So if it's a cartridge game and it comes with the bonus stuff, it's the same price, which is great. They got me this really cheap, and it's a game I was having trouble finding even loose, so nice to grab that. I've heard this game is terrible as well, but just kind of interested in some of these oddball Titus games that had very low print runs on the Game Boy Color. Moving on, I'll talk about Game Boy Advance stuff. I got a sealed copy of Tokyo Extreme Racer Advance while I was out there. Really like this series. I played just about all of them, and this was one that I totally forgot even came out. So saw that not only that they had it, but that they had it sealed, and I just had to grab it. Another huge one off my Game Boy Advance want list is this game, R-Type 3. I've been looking for this shooter for a really long time for the system because I'm trying to get a full set of all the shooters for Game Boy Advance. And I would have even been happy with a loose copy of this, and to find this complete out in California was a no-brainer. So very nice to get that. Kind of has cheap artwork, but definitely a fun game if it holds up to the Super Nintendo version. Last thing I got for a portable system is Snowboard Kids for DS. Just one more of the Atlas releases. Nothing too special here, but just nice to have it. And a couple just oddball things for other systems. I got Ninja Gaiden Black for Xbox. Bought the original Ninja Gaiden whenever it first came out for Xbox and really didn't fall in love with it, but I've heard this one's a little better, so I don't know. Guess I'll check it out. I've noticed that one's been going up in price a little bit lately for some reason. As far as Wii games, I got Wheesung UK Hits. I don't know why I bought this other than it was super cheap and it was just kind of amusing that you can sing karaoke to Radiohead and Blur and things like that I used to listen to back in the 90s. And obviously very odd that this got a US release because I can't imagine there's too much crossover appeal to it, but kind of interesting if you're into the old Britpop stuff. Last game I got this month was Frizz Chess for the Wii. This is a incredibly rare game for the Wii that, again, was just very lucky to find in a store. Not really a huge chess fan or anything, but definitely nice to get one more of the oddball Wii games off my want list. Last couple things I got is a just box and manual and map for the greatest game in the Final Fantasy franchise, which is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, as of course everyone believes in. Not really, but just nice to get a complete copy of this, or at least all the bonus things. I had got this real cheap. Last thing I got this month was just a couple old magazines. EGM magazine from, I think, 1996, and an EGM2 also, I think, from 96 or 97. So nice to get those. Just found those in a store in California as well, and I always like to grab old game magazines from the mid-90s anytime I can find them. So that's about it for the month. Hope you guys all had a great year, and Happy New Year 2018. Talk to you soon, and please leave a comment, and subscribe. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.